Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another First Impressions and upcoming projects video. Now, I have to give a little caveat to this. Now, I met my friend Richard yesterday, and he said when I give the caveats in some of my videos that many of you must roll your eyes. Because if you're here on my channel, on the Texas Gun Vault 2, my behind-the-scenes channel, you already know what this is all about, and maybe I should put a disclaimer on the front of the video in text form, because I always have to remind people, because they're going to see the title of this video and assume it's a review, and this is not a review. It's a first impressions video. If you'd like to see all of my reviews, it's on my main channel. There's a link in the description below. This is just my behind the scenes channel where I talk about guns and what I'm working on for the main channel in a very casual way. There's no shooting footage here or any of that. I literally come back from the range and tell you what happened, and that's it. That's all this is. And then of course, I also talk about stuff that is coming into the channel that's being lent to me for upcoming reviews. So there you go. That's the caveat. Don't tell me it's the world's worst review. And I'm sorry, Richard, in order for me to put that title card in the front of these videos, because I filmed this on my phone, not on my nice recording equipment with nice audio equipment, it would require an extra level of editing, and it's a little bit too hard to do. All right, so let's talk about the first impressions first. Wow. It's like that Austin Powers line, allow myself to introduce myself. My first impressions first. Anyway, here we go. The Noveske Ghetto Blaster. Now, this is a pistol. As you can see, we have a pistol stabilizing brace. But this one is a little bit different than the standard one because this one is in 5.56. I believe they offer this in 5.56 and 300 blackout. And I am typically not a big fan of very short 5.56 platform firearms because that is a cartridge that I believe expends all of its powder by 18 to 20 inches. And so when you have a really short barrel like this, you lose a lot ballistically, the capabilities of that cartridge. But you also get a huge flash and it's obnoxious. And that is exactly what this gun is. So the first thing I'm going to say is I have reviewed the Ghetto Blaster and 300 blackout. Both this pistol and the 300 blackout ran great. They're a fantastic firearm, built well, they're accurate, they're fun. This one is obnoxious, absolutely obnoxious. The fireball unsuppressed is crazy. The concussion is crazy. And we have a Q, I believe it's called the Cherry Bomb on the front. So this is the flash hider or muzzle device that is installed on this. And by the way, Noveske and Q have a close working relationship. But I also have the blast deflector that on all of the unsuppressed shots that I did with this rifle, I used the blast deflector and it didn't do anything. I mean, I have pictures. If you go over to my Instagram and my Facebook page, you can see me testing this and you have a huge, huge fireball. It's obnoxious. And this is a gun that is probably intended for like PDW use, personal defense weapon use, you know, VIP protection, home defense, that kind of stuff. I would not recommend it for that. This is a range toy. If you want this firearm in a more practical setup where you can run it unsuppressed and suppressed without it being just the loudest, most obnoxious thing, get it in 300 blackout. You have way more options between supers and subs, and running it suppressed. It sounds so much better suppressed on 300 blackout than this. I mean, this gun is super high quality, though, very accurate. I only tested it out to 25 yards, but I was shooting like tight groups like this. So performance-wise, 5 out of 5 stars. Accuracy-wise, 5 out of 5 stars. Build quality, 5 out of 5 stars. It's obnoxious and it gets really hot, especially up here around the handguard. And because this is a pistol, we don't have a vertical foregrip or anything else on it. I guess you could run an angled foregrip. But I ended up, by the end of the review, having to do like the magwell hold because this handguard got so freaking hot. It was not comfortable. It would actually burn me if I would have held on to it for too long. So I had to do like the magwell hold. So those are the only two gripes. Oh, there is one other gripe. The brace, even if this was a stock, I don't like the Q stocks or the braces. Not because they're bad quality, not because they don't work, not because they don't look cool, but it's because they pinch my cheek. This little edge right back here where we have this lip, and you can see where we have the buffer tube, where it rests on my cheek and under recoil, it pinches me. And I'll leave the range with a little red mark right here. I wish that this little shield was a little bit further back. It would make the world of difference in how comfortable this gun shoots for me, or how comfortable it is for me. I prefer other stocks. And I know some people in my range report are always going to say, well, that's because you're fat. You need to go work out. Well, I really feel like this has nothing to do with how fat I am, which I don't think I'm that fat. I do have the tactical Texas Gun Vault dad bod. But this gun, it pinches me right here. So not bad, but it's noticeable and you feel it. And even this plastic, it has a sharp edge to it as well. So I kind of feel like that needs to be dehorned a little bit. So there's that. It gets really, really hot, and it's simply loud and obnoxious. But everything else about it ran great. No failures, no issues, strong ejections. Awesome little gun. My suggestion is 300 blackout. Yes, you'll pay more for ammo, but I think you get more options, and it's a more practical gun for what I think the gun is designed to be based off of its size. All right. Now let's talk about the other thing I reviewed. Because we have the Q Cherry Bomb on here, of course, I had to run this gun suppressed. And the suppressor I also reviewed. And you guys will see these back to back. I will release the range report on the gun first, then the range report product review on the suppressor second. This is the Q Southpaw 5.56 tubeless suppressor. It works really well on this gun. And I didn't really know how it was going to perform because the barrel is so short and the flash was so big. It mitigates the flash and it mitigates the concussion quite a bit. And based off of the barrel length, it actually suppresses pretty well. I don't think, though, however, it was hearing safe at this barrel length. I think if this barrel was, I don't even know what this is, I don't know, 7 inches, 8 inches. If this was 11.5 inches or longer, it 100% be hearing safe. I like the tone of it, though, a lot. I mean, it works really well. But this gun is way overgassed with this can. This suppressor has a lot of resistance to it, a lot of resistance. And that might be a good thing depending on the type of build you have. I always mention that with suppressors. I know the new hotness is to have low flow, low resistance suppressors with like helical baffle systems because you don't get as much gas back in the firearm. But often any gas operated gun like an AR-15, especially if it's a DI or direct impingement, not piston, sometimes that little bit of extra gas is going to help the gun run more reliably, especially if you're using lighter loads or subsonic ammunition. In 5.56, that's not really an issue. I would say the resistance of this suppressor is a huge downside to it. Huge downside to it. It is hands down the most resistant suppressor I have reviewed. But tone quality is good. Point of impact shift, ballistic change, almost nothing at all. It virtually shoots the same. It actually, like most guns, this shoots better suppressed than unsuppressed. So adding to the suppressor, I did get a tighter group. I haven't looked at the ballistics data. It's probably going to be about the same. It might have a little bit smaller standard deviation and spread, but generally the numbers when I was at the range was almost identical. Almost no point of impact shift at all. It does get super hot, but overall it cools off pretty fast. I think after I did the mag dump with it, it was up in the 500s. And 5 minutes later, which is the test, it was down to about 220, which is still hotter than boiling water. But coming down from 500 degrees to 220 is pretty good. But it stayed hot for quite some time. Even when I got home from the range, and it had probably been about 30, it was still warm when I got it out of the bag. I mean, it wasn't going to burn me or anything. this thing retains the heat. So lots of resistance, retains the heat, and I got to look up what the material is. I don't know if this is titanium, Inconel, or stellite. Normally, the titanium and the lighter materials dissipate the heat, but if this is stellite or, I don't know, stainless, I don't know, it does retain. So we'll just have to see. Overall, good suppressor. I think it would be a better option for a longer barreled gun. But good tone, terrible flow or resistance, great or no point of impact shift, no ballistic changes, and it gets hot and it kind of stays hot. It drops off fast, but then it stays warm. So we'll talk about the safety issue with that. So that was the first impressions on this. So that's what I'm going to start working on this weekend and hopefully get the videos produced maybe tomorrow and Monday. And then we'll move on to the next thing. And if you're wondering when the review for this gun will come out, if you are not a Patreon supporter, it will get released probably in about a year, next June. Because right now I think I have videos through June the 18th of next year set. So that's the first impressions on this bad boy. All right, so now let's talk about the upcoming projects. In my last video, I showed you this gun, which I'm really excited to take to the range. This is the Witness 2311C from Girsan or Girsan, and this is a 2011 pistol that costs around $750. And this is a platform that's very pricey for the most part for a lot of gun owners. I always looked at the Staccatos as being kind of entry level, which on par, I think Staccatos make the best 2011s for cost versus what you get. Yes, there are nicer ones that shoot better, but they cost double what a Staccato is. I just think you get the most. Staccatos for me are the gold standard of 2011s, and they're really the company that innovated and did all the R&D to make them. They have it down. This is 1/3 the price, and I think puts a 2011 in the hands of average gun people. But we went over all of the issues with this. You know, the heavy trigger springs, but all the positives too. The magwell and the fit, I guess the finish of this gun. So I had the bright idea. I need to review this gun because it stands out in the 2011 market as being the most affordable. Not by a little, but by a lot. Wouldn't it be cool if I did a range report on this, and then I did a range report on a gun on the opposite end of the spectrum, and then made a video comparing the two? So I contacted my friend D. You guys know he has an amazing collection, and I don't even think I've made a dent in his collection, okay? And I was like, hey, I picked up, or this was lent to the channel from my friend Jack. Wouldn't it be cool if I did a side-by-side video with a gun that was 10 times or more the price and just see what does a sub $1,000 level, sub $750 level 2011 shoot like, and what does a $10,000 2011 shoot like? And talk about its features, show it here on the workbench. And it's not going to be an apples-to-apples comparison because the barrel length is different and the features are different. But we can talk about trigger, we can talk about build quality, we can talk about options, we can talk about machining, we can talk about all those things. And that one might have a little bit of shooting in it, but I think it's going to be more of a tabletop review. But the gun that he let me borrow for this is another Infinity. And you guys know Infinity is like the premier. I think they're even more premier than Cabot guns. And Infinity started life with Staccato. I want to say they were originally the same company and the owners went in different directions. Staccato wanted to go more in the duty practical type of area, and Infinity wanted to go in the top tier competition kind of genre. So both of them can technically make 2011s. They both, I think, share the trademark. But this is called the Encore, the Infinity Encore. So let me actually show you the presentation box here. I mean, look at that, okay? That's a big difference between packaging we can also talk about when it comes comparing these pistols. And below that, we have, of course, we get the owner's manual stuff, and You get an extra magazine, which actually was, sorry, I think it only comes with one mag. Yeah, that's a big downside. You would think that for what this gun costs, you get more than one mag. And in case you're wondering, this is a $10,000 gun. I think you can get it for less, but out the door, probably with taxes, if you can even find one, you're going to be out the door over 10 grand. Okay? So we are going to compare a $750 2011 to a $10,000 2011. Okay, so here it is, the Infinity Encore. Now look at the machining on that bad boy. Look how all these lines and all these marks on the side of the frame and the slide meet up. And I noticed something really cool and interesting, that when I lock the slide open, it all still lines up. Look at that on that side. Look at that, amazing. That is amazing craftsmanship. I mean, does that affect the function? No, it doesn't affect the function at all. But you have to admit and applaud the engineers and the people that designed this to be able to do that. That is really cool. Okay, to me, that just shows attention to detail that's like off the chart. So this is a pretty darn high-end firearm. Let me show you all the markings here. Look at the barrel hood, all the machining there. Here's stuff. This one also has the island barrel, which is something that I can tell you I have really grown to love in 2011s. So we have an island barrel. This one is not ported, but we do have those little stars on there. It kind of reminds me of Cabot guns, and this is an aesthetic thing for me. I'm not a big fan of stars on guns because to me they look like stripper tattoos, and I think that's just I'm not going to say it lacks class. I'm just saying it just has that look to me. Now I know that what they're going for on this is the American motif. So we have, the flag here with the Infinity logo, and the stars obviously are about, the 50 stars on the U.S. flag. That is what this is supposed to be. So, I mean, I can appreciate that. But stars, for some reason, are just not aesthetically appealing. Now, the great thing, I want to first off say, I really appreciate my friend D. Because not only does he allow me to borrow these amazing firearms, he also allows me to be very honest with all of you. Like, I don't have to sugarcoat anything. He says, listen, if you shoot a gun, a review gun, you hate it, it doesn't shoot well, I don't care. I have absolutely no ego in this. Like you can totally trash the gun, I'm totally fine, because he is secure in his own purchase, which I wish more YouTube viewers were like that. Because if I say even the slightest negative thing about a firearm, they're like, oh my God, I own this gun, how dare you say that about this? It's like, dude, chill, you can love the gun, I don't care. But D's awesome. So if I say I don't like the stars, he's like, dude, I don't care, it's my gun, I love it. He's awesome that way. This is also a real hefty gun. I mean, this thing is a steel frame, where this one is going to be polymer. We do not have a plate system for the optics, which is, I think this one's going to require a plate. I think. I have to double check. Maybe it's set up for the, no, maybe not. I think this was the RMSC. I'll have to check that out. But taking a look at this, I'm just telling you, the machining on this is definitely a step above. Is it 11 times the price above? I don't know. But let's see what this trigger feels like. Okay, let's see what a $10,000 trigger feels like. Okay, that's in a class of its own. Now, of course, we have the law of diminishing returns. Man. Okay, that's nice. I'm curious what it is on the gauge. It's definitely better than Staccato. Definitely better than Atlas Gunworks. But Atlas Gunworks is like $3 grand less than this thing. And I don't know if that is worth $3 grand of a trigger, but damn. That's pretty damn sweet. And oh my gosh, that is buttery smooth right there. Woo! Yeah, so I can tell the difference when you rack the slide. Oh yeah, see here you hear all the grit, you hear the springs. Here, let me give you a close-up of this. Very, very mechanical. You can hear the imperfections. On this gun, I guess you hear it a little bit, but like, man, that's just buttery smooth. I don't hear the springs in there. Okay. Yeah, that's machine perfect. And the way the slide mates up with the frame, I mean, it's perfect. You don't see a gap in there, where, of course, on this one, you do. See right there, you see it. Okay, so on the gauge, what is this trigger? Let's find out here. By the way, thanks Craig for giving the channel this gauge. All right, here we go. Let's see what this trigger is. This gun does not have a grip safety. 1 pound, 10.1 ounces. For this one, £7 pounds, 1.9 ounces. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. All right, let's try this one again and see what we get. Actually, I think I pulled it too far even after it broke. 1 pound, 11.3 ounces. Let me see if I can get that even closer to what it actually is. I was still pulling. I wasn't expecting it to break that light. All right, here we go. Okay, I think I screwed that one up. Hold on. Let's do that one again. Well, it's right in there. 1 pound, 14.1 ounces. Wow, that is a light trigger. But because the trigger is so light, I still think I would prefer this to have a grip safety. This gun, I definitely do not think would be safe for home defense or carry. This gun is definitely a race gun. I would want an extra safety on it if I was going to be using it for defense. But yeah, so we are going to be comparing a $750 2011. And by the way, there is nothing wrong with that. Where did I put the mag for this? Where? Oh, it's over there. Okay, never mind. I thought I had it in the gun. No, it's over there. Okay. A $750 2011, which, by the way, I might absolutely love this, and I might come back and be like, listen, for the money, you cannot beat it. I mean, come on, guys. Not everybody, almost nobody, can afford this, okay? I mean, this is unobtainium for a lot of people. But people would love to have the just as good mentality. This one might be it. There might be things about it that you can experience a high-end 2011 at a fraction of the cost. But we have to find out. So we're going to review a $750 2011 to a $10,000 2011. Wow. That's a big difference. Does the law of diminishing returns play into effect? I guess we're going to have to find out. So I think after I get the reviews done on the Ghetto Blaster and the Southpaw, I really need to take some of those rifles to the range, but I think I'm going to move this one up. I think this is going to be my next project right here. So tell me what you guys think. What do you think about the law of diminishing returns, and what do you think about the differences in these two guns, and how dramatic is it going to be? So that's all I got for you tonight, and I'm excited about that one. So if you watch to the end of this video, we are going to use the word comparison. Comparison will be the word of the day. So if you use that word in your comment, I know that you are a true vault dweller and watched all the way to the end of this video. And it means a lot to me, guys, because I know I am not the most charismatic guy on YouTube, and I am just honored that people enjoy talking guns with me. I'm humbled beyond words that you guys follow me and are just interested. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel like what I do is worth it. So thank you for just being part of the Texas Gun Vault project, and as always, thanks for watching.